Hello and welcome back to Look Movie Recaps. Today, we are going to recap a 2020 movie, The Beast. Please be advised that there will be spoilers ahead. The opening scene introduces us to Leonida, a former captain of the Italian Special Forces who consistently completes risky missions that most people would consider impossible. Leonida always manages to complete every mission. However, on his final mission, Leonida experienced a painful incident that left him severely traumatized, requiring him to regularly see a psychiatrist and take sedatives to relieve depression. One day, Leonida visits the school to see his daughter Teresa playing a baseball game with her classmates. After that, Leonida visits his son Mato, who seems to ignore his presence and walks away. Leonida then converses with his wife Angela about their children's problems. Apparently, Leonida moved out of the house with his wife and children a few years ago, choosing to live alone due to severe depression. Leonida is worried about his unstable mental state, which may harm his family if they live together. Even so, Leonida promised his wife to return to the family once his condition had recovered. That night, Angela was about to leave the house because she had a meeting to attend. Angela then asked Mato to take Teresa out to dinner and look after the little girl while she was away. Mato then took Teresa to a fast food restaurant. Even though Teresa asked her brother to take her to their father's house, Mato refused because he didn't want to meet his father. While they were eating, Mato caught sight of two of his friends outside the restaurant. Mato then asked Teresa to wait at the restaurant while he met his friends outside. Mato seemed so absorbed in the conversation with his two friends that he forgot his sister was waiting for him alone in the restaurant. However, upon returning to the restaurant, Mato was surprised to find that his sister had disappeared. One of the waitresses reported that a man in a jeep had kidnapped Teresa. In a panic, Mato contacted his father and informed him about the kidnapping incident involving Teresa. Subsequently, Mato reported his sister's kidnapping to the police, ensuring Teresa's immediate recovery. Shortly after, Leonida and the police, led by Detective Simonetti, arrived at the scene. Simonetti then informed Leonida that he had mobilized all his men to locate Teresa by tracing all the jeeps observed in the vicinity during the kidnapping incident. Soon after, Simonetti received information from his men who successfully located a suspicious-looking jeep that was fleeing as the police attempted to investigate it. When Simonetti instructed the rest of his men to assist in locating the jeep, Leonida resolved to steal Simonetti's car in order to pursue the kidnapper and rescue his daughter. Leonida used the police radio and Simonetti's car to pinpoint the location of the kidnapper's jeep. Leonida then took a shortcut and managed to catch up to the kidnapper's car. He attempted to exert pressure on the jeep, but his attempts were unsuccessful, leading to the jeep's rapid acceleration. Meanwhile, the news of her daughter's kidnapping shocked Angela greatly. Simonetti and his team attempted to uncover Leonida's true identity, discovering that he is a former Special Forces captain who led the war to assist the United States government in Afghanistan. However, after completing the last mission, Leonida developed a psychological disorder, leading to a highly unstable mental state. Simonetti thinks that Teresa's abductor was probably Leon's enemy in the past. Chetty then instructed his men to monitor Leonida closely, ensuring he would not engage in any actions that could endanger others during his search for the kidnapper. After losing track of the kidnapper, Leonida then tries to find out where the kidnapper is by approaching a drug dealer, hoping to get information from drug dealers who usually know about crimes that occur in the city. After knocking out some drug dealers at a gas station and getting information from them, Leonida then goes to a nightclub to meet a drug dealer. Once at the nightclub, Leonida overhears a woman discussing a little girl in a jeep. Feeling suspicious, Leonida immediately follows the woman who was about to meet her boyfriend. Leonida trails the woman until she reaches a location where she finally catches sight of the woman's lover, none other than the kidnapper. During their conversation, Leonida discovers that the kidnapper has sold Teresa and the woman appears content with her boyfriend's eventual financial success. An enraged Leonida bursts in, strangling the kidnapper and getting into a fierce fight with him. Knowing Leonida's arrival, the woman rushes into hiding. The kidnapper stabs Leonida in the stomach before slitting her throat, but unfortunately, the kidnapper was already dead when Leonida asked who the man had sold his daughter to. Leonida tries to chase the woman for information, but she manages to escape. Leonida made the decision to steal the kidnapper's cell phone and use it to gather information. The next night, Simonetti and his men disguised themselves as buyers and conducted transactions with a mafia known for their human trafficking business in an attempt to locate Teresa. However, the mobsters already knew of Simonetti's disguise and his men, so a shootout was inevitable. Elsewhere, Leonida visits an old friend to find information about his daughter's kidnapping from the kidnapper's cell phone. On his last mission, Leonida lost all his men, leaving him the only survivor. This devastated him deeply and filled him with guilt as Leonida felt responsible for the deaths of all his men. His friend attempted to reassure Leonida, stating that their deaths were not his fault and that Leonida's men were aware of the risks they faced during their missions. Even so, Leonida still feels guilty and devastated by the deaths of his subordinates. After learning who the kidnapper had sold his daughter, Leonida hurried to the scene to locate her. Upon his arrival, Leonida sneaks in and discovers a man named Mozart, a notorious crime lord involved in human trafficking, holding the woman, the kidnapper's lover, captive. Mozart seems annoyed that Teresa's kidnapping has apparently caught the attention of the police, where the police managed to sniff out his business and kill several of his men to find Teresa. Because of that, Mozart decided to kill the woman for making his business a little difficult due to the carelessness of her boyfriend. Leonida eventually discovered Teresa while he was in hiding. Leonida then asked Teresa, who had noticed her father's presence, to remain calm. However, just as Leonida was about to save Teresa, one of Mozart's men caught him and immediately called another comrade. Soon, Teresa's abductor takes her away, leaving Leonida to fight Mozart's minions alone. After eliminating Mozart's men one by one, Leonida must face off against Mozart's most formidable minion. After a fairly fierce fight, Leonida, who was previously seriously injured and also very exhausted after a long fight, was finally defeated by the henchman and his body was thrown into the water. Meanwhile, Motto, at the police station, was watching a video recording of his father's conversation with a military general. At that time, Leonida was still a highly respected special forces captain in the military. However, Leonida had to experience severe shocks on his last mission, causing prolonged trauma and depression, which made him deliberately stay away from his family in order to protect them. Upon discovering the true reason for his father's deliberate isolation from his family, Motto felt a deep sense of guilt as he had long believed that his father had truly abandoned them. The next day, Motto and his mother visited Leonida, who was being treated at the hospital. The police managed to find Leonida, who was still alive when they stormed Mozart's residence. However, upon arrival, the police did not find Mozart and his henchmen, who had already fled. When Motto arrived at his father's treatment room, Leonida instructed his son to use a clip on the nameplate to unlock his handcuffs, as the police had already handcuffed Leonida for security purposes. When a policeman entered Leonida's treatment room, the man immediately took his gun and asked the police to contact his headquarters and investigate all assets owned by Mozart because Mozart must be hiding in one of his properties. Knowing that Mozart owns the property of an abandoned skyscraper, Leonida concludes that he is holding Teresa there. After preparing himself, Leonida rushed there by driving a car with Motto, but halfway through, Leonida asks Motto to come down and wait at home while he saves Teresa. In summary, Leonida reached the abandoned building and swiftly eliminated each of Mozart's minions individually. Meanwhile, Mozart is in the middle of a transaction to sell Teresa to a mobster. Leonida's appearance then made Mozart panic. The man then shot Leonida and attempted to knock him off the building's roof, but Leonida successfully turned the situation around and knocked the man down from a height. Leonida finally found his daughter lying helplessly in a room. However, just as Leonida prepared to take Teresa away, a mobster who had previously transacted with Mozart confronted him. Simonetti successfully paralyzed the man who was pointing a gun at Leonida. Once everything was in order, Simonetti immediately took Teresa to the hospital for medical treatment. Conversely, Simonetti and Leonida expressed gratitude and felt a sense of relief upon solving the case, ensuring Teresa's safety. Teresa finally found her way back to her family. Angela and Motto looked overjoyed that Teresa had finally returned home safely. From a distance, Leonida gazes at his family, filled with relief that they have finally reunited and are all doing well. As Leonida was about to leave, Motto called him and asked him to return home and live with them. However, Leonida still refused. Leonida assured his son that he would strive to improve his mental health and return to his family as soon as possible, as he deeply misses them. Thank you for watching. If you are new, don't forget to subscribe for more recaps. Until next time, have a nice day.